Hello and welcome to the Curator's Salon podcast. I'm your host, Geeta Joshi. And in this episode, I want to address one of the most common questions I get asked from artists, which is how do they sell more work and grow their audience? So this question is meshed with basically, yes, sales, it is about audience growth, but of course within that there is visibility that is a concern. And I also want to really bring in something that is often missed by a lot of artists, but it is their brand positioning. It's what they're known for and it's how they're perceived. So if you are an artist who is looking to showcase your work, you're looking to grow your audience, then keep listening. Because for me, the answer is often very clear for a lot of artists who pose this question, and it is to have their own exhibition. This is where they're going to have all the sort of control that they want over, how much effort goes into it, how that work is actually displayed. But having an exhibition scheduled, and let's say your exhibition would be running for a week or 2 weeks, it really is an opportunity to activate all those things that have been simmering up until now, such as your mailing list, right? Maybe you are somebody that has just let your mailing list go stagnant and you haven't responded to that audience for a while, or maybe you haven't actively been choosing to grow it because you didn't have anything particular to incentivize people to subscribe. Committing to showing your own artwork, having your own exhibition, suddenly becomes an opportunity for you to invite people, and now you can invite people to subscribe to your mailing list because you're going to put them on the guest list for your exhibition, for your private view, for your the events that you have around your exhibition and so on. So now instead of saying join my mailing list or join for studio updates or something that is a bit vague, you're actually able to offer an invitation to something that is a bit more rewarding for your audience. And because a lot of the time our audience is really asking what's in it for me, well, your offer, your incentive to subscribe to your mailing list is made much easier because you're literally going to be inviting them to your exhibition, your opening night, your artist talk, whatever it is that you've got going on as you plan your exhibition. If you are somebody that has been selling your work, or you've been trying to sell your work and you're not really getting the bites, then again, the exhibition is a really great way to make sales because now people can see the artwork in situ, they can see it in context, they can see the artwork in conversation with other pieces. And, if you have done any kind of marketing and promotion around your artist brand, your, art business itself, then the exhibition becomes much more of a focal point because now it is going to be easier for you to sell either through the PDF, have that collection online, and then you've got the in-person experience as well. And really, this is how galleries work. If you were, my program is, one of my programs is called Becoming Your Own Gallerist, but this is essentially what we teach inside that program, not how to have the exhibition, but the other aspects of being a gallery. So this is that fundamental sort of business foundations, and then how you activate all your different kind of plates that you've got spinning, really, with the mailing list, with your online presence, with your website, and upgrading your brand to be one that is attractive and compelling and one that people want to talk about, because we know that word of mouth is a really important way of growing an audience, right? Of building trust in the new people that come into your world. You're just going to be much easier to talk about. So exhibitions, are not reserved just for galleries or museums or art historians or curators, but there's a long history of artists having their own exhibition. And they really provide you the chance to leverage that opportunity to do the things that you want to do, like we say, grow your audience, your patron base, your sales and visibility. So the other thing that exhibitions allow you to do, especially when you have your own ones, is to grow your network. So we talked about, growing your collector base or your audience, but it's really an opportunity to invite industry professionals that you might have either met or you've had some kind of loose connection with, or maybe some kind of distance introduction to, and having your own exhibition really becomes the opportunity that you're able to invite these people and actually see your art, but arranged and in a context that is of your own design. So it's really, like I said, the artwork is in conversation with the pieces with each other. And then you would typically have a kind of theme or a project statement, and that really helps to articulate what it is that you are presenting. So, growing your industry network is a really important part of growing your art career and your art business. And it's not just about getting agents and galleries to rep you, but it is, again, going back to something I just already said, which is about making yourself easy to talk about, or you become more referable. You become that artist that is front of mind when a project idea is proposed to them, or they've got a gap in an exhibition that a gallery is putting together, for example. Then it's more likely that you're going to be front of mind for that because they've actually physically, been in that space where you've had your exhibition. And this is way more powerful than just your online presence. So I want to run through a couple of typical things that you need to consider when having your own exhibition. And first I'm going to just start with some common pitfalls. And that one is when artists have not had exhibitions before, or maybe they have, but they've typically kind of shown in group shows, is to make sure that your, let's call it a theme, your exhibition is reasonably narrow. And it's just going to give you boundaries that help you shape that exhibition and really kind of target what it is that you are saying. So we don't want that exhibition to be a retrospective of everything you've ever done. And you don't need to mash all your exhibition ideas all into this one project, right? You're going to have many exhibitions. I hope that for you, and I hope you hope that for yourself as well. But thinking of like one exhibition idea at a time is all you need to do. A really common problem that artists, it's literally more an imagined problem than a real life problem, is about finding a venue and that it's going to be really expensive. So I have run a gallery, I've run a gallery space, but I have also had exhibitions in corporate lobbies, in community centres, in coffee shops, in offices, and some of these are free. And these are options available to you as well, whether you go for any of those. There's hotels, there's members clubs, there's all sorts of things. So, finding a venue isn't the problem that you might think it is. And I just really want you to think about that, as you go about your day or as you go about your week. Have a look around, like where can you see opportunities, right? Are you going into coffee shops that might be amenable to hosting an exhibition? I've had exhibitions in, it was called like a display window or something like that, in a shopping mall in Canary Wharf, which is a large shopping centre in East London. The gallery windows don't exist anymore actually, because they've expanded the retail units and now there's a sort of coffee unit or something there. But even when you're going around like these kind of very corporate spaces that might feel anonymous and you don't know who to reach and how to get in front of the right people, there are ways. It's all possible, and sometimes that is just a frame of mind. And that was pretty good because it had massive footfall, and it it was up for a month, and obviously I didn't need to be there to manage it. So in the same way that if you go into some of these modern shopping centres, they might have a display of, let's say, I don't know, apparel or something from the latest collection by one of the retailers in that shopping mall. Those, they're called window displays, but they're obviously indoors and everything. Some shopping centres, those landlords are amenable to having artists or craftspeople kind of display their wares, and this is a way that they are able to kind of tick off that box around community efforts and community engagement. So, the opportunities to find venues are way more abundant than you think. And a lot of times, when people are telling me that they don't know where to exhibit or they don't have an exhibition space or it's going to be expensive, they're assuming that they have to rent places. And of course, you can absolutely rent a white cube kind of gallery space if that is what you want. But it might just be a fast win and a stepping stone to get that gallery space if you were to show in another business or a different environment that you can get for free if budget is your biggest concern. So we've covered the exhibition statement or the project statement, finding the venue, and then it's about installation and the format of the exhibition. So I'm kind of really talking right now as if you were going to have a solo exhibition, but it might be a two-person show where you get to show with a friend or whose work is, kind of bouncing off ideas with your own work, or maybe you're both addressing the same thing through your own unique visual language. And then there is a group show. Even the two-person show is technically, it's called a group show, but a group show might be where you are actually inviting a lot more other people to participate and respond to a theme. Sorry, losing my voice there. So thinking about your exhibition format and then your options for hanging, about the visitor experience, how they're going to navigate that space, which artworks go next to which ones because of whatever it is that you want to convey in your messaging, in that visitor experience, how you want people to actually understand your work and interact with it. So that would be the next step. And then finally, it comes to marketing your exhibition. So here's the thing. Inside my program, Your Own Art Show, marketing it's the fourth module, right? So this is the fourth pillar. It's the sort of last one. However, the work around marketing actually starts right at the beginning, and it is something that is ongoing all the way through the process. As you're sourcing venues, you can still be marketing. You can be telling people that you've got this show coming up. You can be telling people that you're making artwork in the studio because you are planning an exhibition next season and so on. So that marketing actually happens all the way through, but it's just really, how can we put this, kind of amplified, once you've secured your venue and things like that. So again, like we said earlier, this is where you can really start telling people that you've got this show coming up, getting them familiar with your work, telling them what's going on, documenting your process along the journey. And this is warming them up to the point that they're going to come to your show and already be reasonably familiar with it, which is a much easier conversion into a sale. And then during the exhibition and afterwards, you always have the option to follow up with people who have shown an interest in your work. And again, going back to the original question at the start of this episode, we talked about people wanting more sales, but there is the follow-up. Like, most people are not following up with people that have inquired. They're assuming that because somebody didn't reply within a day to that email they sent with a price list, that they're not interested. So this is something that you get to do, right? You get to follow up and you get to start those conversations or revisit those conversations with people who maybe have gone cold in your audience and see if they're still interested, or invite them back to see the show before it closes and so on. So that is making sure that you secure as many sales as you can during the follow-up, and that can happen during the exhibition run. Maybe people came to your opening night, or it can be even after the exhibition and letting them know about available work. The other thing during your exhibition you want to make sure you're doing is actually documenting the installation and getting all those good images and feedback and things like that as well. And these will serve you for a long time to come, but they also act as a record that you can have online on your website. So if you are frustrated that your art isn't getting the recognition it deserves, you're not getting the sales that you would like, or you're struggling to connect with the right audience and wondering where they are, any of these things, or maybe you're tired of applying to open calls and just hoping and wishing that you're going to be chosen and selected, then having your own exhibition really is the pathway to growing your audience, growing your network, making sales, actually raising your artist brand, because now you're showing yourself as an artist who is actually backing themselves, and that is way more magnetic than the artist that is like, hey, help me, I've got some work, here you go, what do you think? It's like, no, you need to offer your audience something, and offering that experience that is much more enriching is just a much more generous gift, really, and it's just a much more compelling way of drawing people into your audience and nurturing them. So I really invite you to consider having your own exhibition. Even if that is something that you've done in the past, you get to kind of do it again, learn from what you've done before, learn from what you know now, from just whether you join my program, Your Own Art Show, or not. You've probably been to exhibitions in the interim since you had your own last one, and you've probably learned ways of doing things that can be more supportive to where you want to go. So you don't need to be waiting for an invitation to grow your audience or showcase your work. And it really does help an artist gain credibility. And actually the other thing I haven't mentioned is like connecting with local media. You give some collateral for people to talk about you, and this can be like local newspapers. One of my exhibitions actually was on the front page of a local newspaper called Southwark News a few years ago, because we're able to send out press releases and get people talking about our work. So it can be podcasts, radio stations, TV stations often have a segment on community events and activities, but it's the event that they're interested in, right? They're talking to an audience that want to know about something new and interesting that is going on in their area. It's a way that they can go and spend their Saturday afternoon, and your exhibition gets to be that event and activity, and you get to kind of promote it through connecting with local media, but also obviously through your own marketing and things like that as well. And this is a way of helping you build your own artist brand and your credibility. When galleries and industry professionals see you taking the lead on your own efforts, creating your own opportunities, your personal and professional creative growth, essentially it's going to open the doors to new opportunities. And there's nothing like it, right? You can't just sit there behind a computer and hope that somebody notices you, just only on Instagram and so on. Your exhibition actually gives you that opportunity to refine all the ways, all the touch points that your audience has with you, and get it polished and have it all facing forward, really. It's really an opportunity to get to that next level if you use everything that you have at your disposal for it. And I think that's where having an exhibition scheduled in the calendar actually does hone the attention to okay, well, we're going to get these things done, rather than letting things simmer and be a bit half-assed sometimes. So my program, Your Own Art Show, is open for enrolment, and Kat and I run this program together. There's over 10 hours of training in there. There's over 24 videos of training. And if you enroll on the program, then Kat and I will also write about your exhibition on our websites, curatorsalon.com and createmagazine.com. So that's going to help you jumpstart your promotion and your marketing efforts. And we're also going to be sharing about your exhibition whenever it happens, right? Come and do the program, and maybe you don't have your exhibition for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. It doesn't matter. But whenever you have it, we will write about it, and we'll also share about it on our Instagram. So if it sounds like the support you need or the community you want to enter, then I'm going to add a link to the program in the show notes, and you can hit me up on Instagram in the DMs if you've got any questions about it.